Hello and a warm welcome to TBC News. But before we proceed, first our top stories. Chamwino State House completed. Disaster preparedness departments to be strengthened. Good evening, I am Agnes Tuniga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBConline, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages at TBConline. The construction of the new State House in Chamwino, Dodoma, is 100% completed. The project took 2 years and 9 months. Our reporter, Asheri Thomas, was there earlier today and has prepared the following report that is narrated by...
You can say it is a symbol of national security. This is the State House, the home and the office of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the United Republic of Tanzania. And this is not Magogoni in Dar es Salaam, it is here in Chamwino, Dodoma. This project has everything in common with the one in Dar es Salaam. Due to its sensitivity, the government paid the Army for national construction, the responsibility of building this one in Dodoma.
The experts, such as architects and civil engineers, who build this State House are all from the Tanzanian National Service, but also some young experts contributed in one way or another. This means, security-wise, we had done a great job. Hiring foreigners to build for you something as sensitive as State House is not a good thing. So the decision of the government to use the Tanzanian experts is an excellent decision, especially because they are from the Tanzania National Service.
Kiusalama ni kitu ambacho ni kizuri sana. 2 years and 9 months since being entrusted with this responsibility, now the project is complete.
Mimi kwangu ni fahari. It is an honor to me. There are many institutions that perform same task at the Tanzanian National Service, tasks such as construction work, but the government especially chose the Tanzania National Service through its Suma JKT wing. This is something that I'm very proud of. Mimi kwangu ni fahari.
They had to spend day and night for 3 years when they were here.
Even though this project is a huge one, the experts and the young people involved in the project ensured high quality and all the required procedures throughout the construction process.
What is going on now are minor improvements aiming to make it even more appealing.
Toka tumeanza kumekuwa na uzingatifu wa upimaji wa vifaa vyote ambavyo vimetumika hapa.
Ever since we started, we have been ensuring the quality of the equipment being used in the construction process just to ensure it reached the required quality. We took into consideration the fact that Dodoma is prone to earthquake.
Standing here in the middle of the country, this State House is one of the many projects being implemented in Dodoma, adding value to the Dodoma region residents and Tanzania as a whole. Faida Ngaga, TBC.
That story was compiled by our reporter, Asheri Thomas, and narrated to you by Faida Ngaga. The Cabinet of Ministers has instructed local investigators to collaborate with external investigators to conduct an investigation into the recent Precision airplane crash. This is to find out the cause of the accident and also to get recommendations for actions to be taken after the accident. This is in accordance with the international procedures and laws that deal with plane accidents whereby our country has signed an agreement. In addition, the Cabinet has instructed all the departments concerned with disaster preparedness to be strengthened.
The Cabinet has directed the internal investigators to cooperate with the external investigators in conducting an investigation in recent Precision airplane accident. In order to determine the cause of the accident, dear journalists, the Cabinet has given these directives by taking into account the fact that Tanzania has entered into international agreements that pertain to aviation and the procedures that need to be taken once an airplane accident occurs. So, this is an extension of that whole process, and that is why the Cabinet has given these directives. Cabinet has also directed all the departments that deal with disaster management to be strengthened in many ways. This will enable our country to be well equipped in disaster management. And because we are heading towards investigation, let's all bear in mind that once an accident occurs, there are 3 steps that are usually taken during investigation. First, the investigation of the airplane, which usually takes 14 days, then followed by the preliminary report, which is provided in 30 days, then follows by the final report, which usually takes 12 months after the accident. The government urged citizens to remain calm while this investigation is ongoing, and once the investigation is done, they will be informed about the results. Moreover, the Cabinet is thankful to all those who were involved in the rescuing efforts.
Baraza la mawaziri linawashukuru wote waliohusika katika uokozi mara baada ya ajali hii kutokea.
East African Cooperation Ambassador Mbaruk Nasser Mbaruk says it is important to make a constant assessment on the direction of the country's international relations policies, aiming to continue to protect and defend the national interests. Here's the report by Rukia Mputila.
The new direction into improvement of the economic diplomacy is the slogan for the Ambassadors' Conference that includes more than 40 ambassadors representing various nations in the world, aiming to exchange skills in various sectors.
Majadiliano yatazingatia masuala ya kikanda na kimataifa.
The discussions will center upon regional and international issues that are happening now. This includes climate change, the opportunities that are available due to the free trade zone of Africa, wars and conflicts, and its effects to the economy, politics, and society. Communicable diseases such as COVID-19, Ebola, and its effects to the economy.
The Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, Ambassador Mbaruk Nasser Mbaruk, says the international community is very competitive in utilization of the scarce resources in the struggle to bring development.
Kila wakati tujenge utamaduni wa kutathmini kwa kina.
We should create a culture that reflects upon the world trends while we point out the opportunities and challenges that are there, so that the advice we give can enable the stakeholders to make the right decisions. For instance, if we have obtained a market that demands our products, then we should identify the features of that market. Afterwards, we should give the information in time to the business people and producers. We should not just provide information, but rather we should also ensure a follow-up of all procedures of the chain of command to the exportation of the commodities to the required market.
He urged the ambassadors to evaluate and provide a technical analysis to the ones they have appointed and to establish a culture of evaluating development deeply.
The President of Zanzibar and the Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, says the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar will work on all challenges facing the University of Dar es Salaam Institute of Marine Science, including road infrastructure. Mavura reports.
The University of Dar es Salaam Institute of Marine Science, located at Buyu, Zanzibar. Chancellor of University of Dar es Salaam, Dr. Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, awarding 37 graduates for bachelor's, master's degree, and Doctor of Philosophy. The President of Zanzibar and the Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, is the guest of honor.
Kuwepo kwa taasisi ya sayansi ya bahari hapa Zanzibar.
The presence of Maritime Institute in Zanzibar is an important opportunity to bring development of the important sectors, such as fishing, tourism, and energy.
President Dr. Mwinyi added that the government of Zanzibar will on challenges facing University of Dar es Salaam Institute of Marine Science, including construction of roads.
Nimeshaagiza serikali itoe hati miliki mara moja.
We have ordered the government to provide the trademarks immediately. The issue of lack of public transport is due to the poor roads. So, once the road is constructed, public transport will be available. Let's all be patient so that we can start with tarmac roads first.
Vice Chancellor Professor William Anangisye says once the challenges are solved, the number of students will increase.
It's a message to Tanzanians, especially Tanzanians in Zanzibar, that the Institute of Marine Science is there for them, and we therefore invite the applications for those who are interested in pursuing a bachelor program in marine sciences.
And in doing so, we are creating a pool and personnel that will be able to take forward the blue economy policy to both countries, to both sides of the Union, that is the revolutionary government of Zanzibar as well as the government of the Union.
Some graduates say they will use knowledge they get to push forward blue economy policy in Zanzibar.
I learned a lot, and as we're approaching to the era of the blue economy for both mainland and the island Zanzibar, I would use the opportunity and the skills that I got in class to create opportunities for myself in the sector of blue economy, and also I will use the opportunities that are provided by the government to use the knowledge that I obtained in class and the skills to practice and to bring development to the economy in general.
So I will try my level best to push this sector by introducing new techniques that will benefit all the community in general.
So Mumavura, TBC, Zanzibar.
Thank you, Mavura, for that well-detailed report. Following the Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba, reaffirming in Parliament recently that Tanzania is still a lower middle-income country and how this can have an effect after the recent census results 2022. We are joined live with Professor Omar Mbura, who is a professor of marketing from University of Dar es Salaam. Professor, please kindly welcome to our studios. Professor, thank you so much for your time joining us this evening. Going through the census report that has been just tabled recently, it shows that Tanzanian population has been increasing many folds since the year 1967, when the country had only 12.3 million people. And now the recent census report results show the population has increased 5 times to 61.7 million people. How can this increase in population be translated into country's economic growth and increased investment here in Tanzania?
All the time we speak about the economic growth. Yes. At least 3 major dimensions are useful in explaining economic development. The most common that we are using is the gross national income. Of course, there is also gross domestic product, and there is also gross national product. For us, and the fact that we have been mentioned to fall under the category of the middle income country, even though it is still on the lower side, we tend to make use of gross national income to be able to compute how much each of the Tanzanian basically gets the national cake. But I want to admit that this is simply I would say not basically mathematical as such, but something like that, in a sense that the division is actually on the basis of the size of the population. So looking at the fact that the number of people has increased, unless we really raise how much we are generating in terms of revenues for goods and services, this is certainly going to affect us adversely in terms of the gross national income. But the good thing about what is happening now is that between 800,000 and 1 million people are graduating every year from higher learning institutions, suggesting that the quality of people who are graduating has actually increased over years. This translates into the capabilities in terms of contribution in the economy, in a sense that the quality of people is comparably higher. And the fact that we think that the development of the economy tend to be much more biased towards the development of the manufacturing sector, then in that case the quality of people who have broader knowledge, skills, but also innovative is of paramount importance.
You have mentioned here, Professor, that the number of people has increased, but in various categories. I see here within the report it says that in Tanzania itself it is estimated that more than 50% of the population are under 18 and over 70% are under 30 years of age, and Tanzania is one of the world's fastest growing young people's population, and this is according to UNICEF here in Tanzania. But how can this set to be an economic advantage or disadvantage?
There is certainly a higher degree of belief, and I believe this belief is justified, that age is a factor when it comes to enhance the productivity. And as a matter of fact, from entrepreneurial field, fortunately I come from entrepreneurial field, I might be a little bit biased, but people whose age is between around 30 years of age have been attributed or have been related more to the ability to be able to work hard, ability to be able to contribute significantly towards the economy. And in that regard, the fact that the quality of people is significantly explained by the knowledge, skills, experiences, and attitude, that I believe that given the fact that primary school education, now we are close to over 90-something%, where people are all exposed to primary education, but secondary education we're even doing much better. In the higher learning institutions, even much better. So I feel strongly that the quality of people that are actually contributing to the economy has increased. And now that we are talking about the age, then those whose age is really a working age have a greater potential to contribute to the economy, given the fact that the capacity to think, the capacity to contribute is basically relatively higher. So in a way, we should actually feel proud. And I see that even the Tanzanians themselves, that age category, they tend to basically contribute in terms of entrepreneurial behavior. Now that we still have problems in employment in the formal sector, but we see that many more of these youths, I could regard them as youths, they are actually venturing into coming up with brilliant ideas. I come from the field of education, and I see, the moment I get out of classes, I meet some students, they ask very, very inquisitive questions towards the entrepreneurial orientation. So I feel that we're actually in the right track, provided, of course, conducive environment in the country also created.
Yes, and at this time, Tanzania is reaffirmed to be a low-middle income status. What do you think then Tanzania should do to make sure that it maintains and sustains this status?
What is important now that the middle income, the low middle, are considered to be earning from US dollars to 1,036. Now 2021 we had 1,008, slightly above the bottom of the line, and suggesting that this would translate into something like 2,500,000 per annum for every Tanzanian. And what I would think is that we are doing very fine in that direction. However, we may need possibly to enhance when it comes to the issue of which sectors are potentially likely to generate more employment, but also which sectors are likely to basically involve knowledge content kind of engagement of these youths that we envisage that will contribute to the economy. I would have thought that, you know, agriculture has been contributing close to 26% of the economy. Service sector has taken the lead to 34%, whereas the industry itself has been slightly above agriculture now, surprisingly. So I would think that if we can stimulate the development of the industrial sector, and luckily our vision 2025 is already towards that direction, then I think we have a greater chance of actually doing much better. Because that one, you know, the good thing about the industrial sector is that it can actually trigger other sectors. Think about mining, think about agriculture, tourism, and everything can actually be linked to the development of the industrial sector.
Professor Mbura, I thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you so much. Tanzania has been advised to invest in human capital and prioritize simple technologies in the manufacturing sector since it is an engine and accelerator of the economic development. This was stated by the director of the Jaipur Institute of Management in India during opening a 2-week training course on exposure to sunrise sectors of India sponsored by the Indian government for the employees of the Tanzania Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, TCCIA. Rema Sebabili reports.
A team of 29 employees from Tanzania Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture (TCCIA) has arrived in India for a 2-week training aimed at increasing their ability to manage and run modern business through technology. Speaking during the opening of the program, the director of Jaipur Institute of Management, Dr. Deep Pandesh, says investment in human skills will help the country grow fast economically.
The most important factor for a country like Tanzania is to spend a lot of money, invest a lot of money on human knowledge, right? Education, training and skill. If you see India's development in the last 20-25 years, it is primarily because India has invested huge amount of money on education, on primary education, on higher education, technological education and skill.
But I'm sure there are many things in which probably Tanzania would like to know from India as to what we have done and how we have done so that we can share.
On his part, the TCCIA Vice President, who represents Commercial Department, Dr. Meshak Kulwa, says the training will enable them to achieve the government's goals of making the private sector the engine of the economy.
The program is intending to transform the economy of Tanzania. And the transformation will be all away from the small and the medium enterprises to be graduating to be the large business persons in Tanzania.
We expect to learn a lot that will later be using it to our Tanzania chamber so that we can deliver services, maximum services to our member.
The bilateral trade between Tanzania and India has grown exponentially, amounting to a tune of $4.58 billion. Reporting from New Delhi, India, Rehema Sebabili, TBC.
That item concludes local news tonight. International news is up next. It's now time for international news, and here's Gloria Michael with international news.
East African leaders have announced talks which aimed at stop fighting in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The discussions will be held in Kenya on November the 21st. It comes as the Congolese forces fighting rebels for controlled land between Kibumba and Legare, just 25 kilometers from the regional capital, Goma. It is the closest the rebel group M23 has come since begun of the offensive in March this year. Still in Africa, the UK says is looking to secure consular access to a pro-democracy activist jailed in Egypt. Alaa Abdel Fattah has been on hunger strike since April. He has now started drinking water after refusing to do so for a week. He took largest urgent to pressure the authorities to allow British diplomats to visit him. The British-Egyptian activist has been to prison since December last year, accused of spreading false news. From Africa to Turkey. 46 people have been detained after the Sunday's blast in Turkey's biggest city. The explosion killed 6 people and injured more than 80. It happened at Istiklal Street at Taksim shopping area in Istanbul, which is popular with local and tourists. Police said the woman who planted the bomb is a Syrian. The PKK group denied allegation that it was behind the attack. France and UK have signed new increment on immigration control on English Channel. The deal is worth more than $74 million. It includes 40% increase in number of officers patrolling the French coast. The deal reached on stopping illegal migration. The UK Defence Ministry says 40,000 people have tried to cross the Channel this year. Lastly, to Asia. Parts of northern China are experiencing the fierce, heaviest snow of the heaviest winter. Railway transport in Lidanshan and Jixing province has been disrupted and workers are scrambling to clean tracks. Rail traffics and flights have also been affected. For International Today, it was me, Gloria Michael.
That was international news. Sports news is up next. And Mario Cheto for sports news.
The organizers of Maasai Festival plan to produce a Maasai film focusing on promoting Tanzania tourism internationally. Speaking to TBC during the Bagamoyo International Arts and Culture Festival, Public Relations Officer of the Maasai Festival, Kalunde Kapaliswa, said the festival is planned to promote the Maasai culture as the one of tourist attraction in Tanzania.
We've designed the event specifically because we're trying to add value to the tourism sector. And so our goal for Maasai Festival is to promote and preserve our culture as a whole. And we are using the Maasai as a face or as a representation of all our cultures in the country.
She also asks artists and different stakeholders to participate in the festival as the one way of promoting Tanzania tourism sector worldwide.
Honestly, a lot of people have been interested, and it's been very good. We really cannot complain. It's been mind-blowing. We weren't expecting as much positivity, and people have been very positive about it, and I'm hoping that the more people get to hear it, the more they would want to attend.
The Maasai Festival is planned to take place on August next year, where the Maasai film and the other traditions will be displayed to the world. The artists encourage more investment in the island and the coastal shores of Indian Ocean to increase the number of tourists visiting in the country. Speaking of the historical journey they made when they crossed the Indian Ocean waves to Lazy Lagoon.
I found out about Lazy Lagoon from family friends. You know, since everything's a bit better with COVID, we've been getting more and more guests coming. There's always local guests coming to Lazy Lagoon because it's not very far from Dar es Salaam.
One of tourist attraction in the country, they said there should be more investment in the area so as to attract more tourists. They also asked the people to visit Lazy Lagoon as a way of contributing to the economy of the country.
We just want to show the world that in Tanzania we have very beautiful places, very valued places. Therefore, I do invite all people from other places in Tanzania to visit Tanzania.
I'm looking at this place as a product which we need to sell together. And by selling, which means we are going to get money out of it. So it's a place to be. For those that have never been to this place, well, it's a place to be.
And I promise you, when you come here, you're going to feel like you're in a real heaven. Welcome to Bagamoyo, welcome to Lazy Lagoon Island.
The artists performing during the Bagamoyo International Arts and Culture Festival visiting Lazy Lagoon to promote local and international tourism. The Copyright Office of Tanzania have urged artists to register their artworks to prevent piracy and getting loyalty when their work is used. Speaking with the TBC during the Bagamoyo International Arts and Culture Festival, Senior Copyright Officer Naomi Munguru said the registered artworks will make them to be protected by law.
Formerly, we used to work as Cooperative Society of Tanzania, COSOTA, but now we have an amendment of the law separating the two activities. We have the Copyright Office now and the Collective Management Organization. We used to collect the royalties and registering their works, but in the future, we're going to stick on the one activity, Copyright Office, supervising all the CMOs who are coming to collect the royalties. And the artist will be the one who collecting their royalties and they distribute it to their artists, so they will benefit from their works.
She also pointed out that more education campaigns are needed as the key to prevent piracy of artists' products in the society.
Now we have a campaign for anti-piracy operation. People who are using or are infringing the copyright, to stop them from infringing their rights, but also how they can benefit from pirated works.
Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Malio Cheto, TBC News.
With that, sports news package marks the end of our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Agnes Tuniga, and thank you very much for watching.